Does Elon Musk, the world's richest man, deserve $56 billion, the largest compensation package in history? $55.7 billion more than Google's CEO.
In recent years, billionaire has become a pejorative. It's like that's a bad thing.
That's the question that's rocking the financial world right now.
A group of Tesla shareholders are trying to encourage others to vote against CEO Elon Musk's $56 billion pay package.
This is a great American story. He's rolling the dice. There's a great chance he gets nothing, but if he performs, he gets a huge payout, and we should applaud that.
$55 billion is such a large pay package that it basically skewed dramatically upward the entire data set for the compensation consulting industry.
I can't think of one other example where a company not just would give, a $56 billion pay package, but to a guy who was like a 1/3 time CEO and whose distractions are threatening to pull the company in bad directions.
That's New York City Comptroller Brad Lander. He's leading the fight along with other major shareholders to reject Musk's astronomical pay package at the automaker's annual shareholder meeting June 13th.
I mean, the pay package, to say it's stratospheric doesn't really represent a good understanding of the Earth's atmosphere. It's just off the charts.
But why is a city comptroller talking about a CEO's business decisions? Doesn't Elon know what he's doing if he's the richest man in the world? And why does he have to listen to a bunch of pesky shareholders who have never run a multi-billion-dollar business? Well, let's take a look at how he's been running Tesla in the last few years. Since the start of this year, Tesla's stock has fallen more than 40%. Sales are plummeting, layoffs are rampant. In April, the company sent home over 14,000 employees, or 10% of its global workforce. The really cool looking Cybertruck has been marred by recalls, and the highly anticipated and affordable Model 2 was scrapped by Musk. And now it seems like he's not even sticking to the brand's mission of making electric vehicles. Instead, he's pouring his focus, in between epic tweets, or X's, pardon me, into launching an OpenAI competitor and robo-taxis, which are supposedly dropping on August 8th.
The market with EVs is just beginning. A little long-term research in the robo-taxis, in whatever else he's got in his imagination is fine. That's long-term R&D, but when that eats the whole attention of the company, that's not good.
Maybe he's not so interested in EVs as his alliance with Trump grows.
Now they want to go to an EV. Everybody has to have an electric car. Isn't that wonderful? They don't go far. By the way, that ends on the first day.
Maybe he's distracting shareholders by presenting new shiny ideas that will save them all. Whatever the case, it's all hurt Tesla's reputation.
Elon Musk is alienating the core customer base of Tesla. And maybe that's why he's trying to imagine Tesla as a different business, but that just doesn't make sense. Like, what the board of Tesla should say is, okay, either you can be the CEO of Tesla, put your focus and energy here, stop with the distractions that are driving our buyers away, grow the company, or we should get somebody else who will do that.
I mean, the guy is literally the CEO of 3 companies. How can any one of those be thriving?
Very rarely is a CEO running 3 companies and also seemingly spending most of his time on Twitter ranting. But that is what Elon Musk is doing. I mean, he's the CEO of Tesla, he's the CEO of SpaceX, he's the CEO of X. And clearly he spends a lot of time on X ranting politically.
Lander is also leading the opposition on that egregious pay package because, as the NYC comptroller, he manages retirement funds, and your retirement is actually what is funding Musk's record compensation package.
The New York City pension funds own quite a lot of Tesla stock, over $600 million in Tesla stock we own.
If Musk is handed $56 billion by Tesla's board, it's estimated that everyone's Tesla shares will dilute by nearly 9%. To put that in perspective, other big companies usually see their shares value decrease by only 1% when new shares are doled out as part of pay packages. And it's not just the suit-smoking fat cigars who will feel this. It's working people like you.
There are titans of industry and very wealthy people who own a lot of stock, but a whole lot of stock is owned by working people through their pension fund.
This dilution wouldn't just squeeze people like teachers, firefighters, school crossing guards, and nurses. It would also increase Musk's control over the company, boosting his ownership stake from 12.9% to 22.4%. And how we got here in the first place is just as head-scratching as Musk's giant pay package for part-time work. See, this $56 billion number you keep hearing was decided on back in 2018. Back around the time A Star is Born hit theaters, Tesla's board of directors were birthing something of their own, the biggest pay package in the history of the corporate world. The board approved a massive $56 billion payout for their CEO, Elon Musk. But a few shareholders thought it was excessive and that the board wasn't acting independently. So some shareholders sued, and a Delaware judge agreed with them and rescinded the pay package.
I've never seen anything quite like it, where the court says, a judge says, we looked at what's required for a board to act independently, and they didn't do it. Now, lots of boards are way too close to their CEO. That's not uncommon, but still it is uncommon for it to be so blatant a violation of independent shareholder governance that the court would rule against it.
The Delaware judge rejected the pay package because it was developed by Musk himself rather than an independent compensation committee. He was just like, yeah, $56 billion would be cool. Company shareholders were not properly informed about that when they were asked to vote, which is no surprise considering some of Tesla's board members are actually family members and, if you can believe it, even friends of Musk.
Kimball Musk is Elon's brother when I say a family-owned company. This is a family-owned company. And James Murdoch, son of Rupert, but also like best buds with Elon Musk. So this is like a bro board of literal family and chums. And like they could go for like an AI fishing weekend or whatever, but the board is supposed to be independent board members, and James Murdoch and Kimball Musk ain't that.
So with friends and family on the board of Tesla, they're pushing forward with the pay package anyway, despite what that Delaware judge ruled. Tesla's shareholders meeting is poised for June 13th, and they'll be voting on a few things here. Tesla's proposal to move incorporation from Delaware to Texas so they can dodge the Delaware court, the re-election of two board members, Kimball Musk and James Murdoch, and of course, Elon's enormous pay package. Luckily, Brad Lander isn't the only shareholder voting no on these fronts.
It is kind of a polarized world, and there's no doubt he has his defenders, but most people who take the point of view of what's good for broad corporate governance know this stinks.
In addition to proxy advisor Glass Lewis urging shareholders to vote no, CalPERS, who is among the top 30 investors of Tesla, is also planning to vote against the pay package proposal.
The team is evaluating it, but as of today, minus the conversation that is yet to happen with Tesla, we would not be voting in favor of that proposal.
ISS, one of the biggest advisory firms, has also joined the opposition. If Musk's pay package goes through, along with Tesla's move to Texas and the re-election of two controversial board members, it could fundamentally undermine the integrity of corporate governance. Allowing this to continue unchecked prioritizes the interests of powerful CEOs and their close associates over those of middle-class workers and the general public, ultimately hurting the economy and setting a dangerous precedent for CEO pay.
But if things get broken in the way that this case suggests, there really is a risk the whole thing could kind of erode, and the provisions that make it possible for investors to invest in companies that will grow in ways that pay good returns for pensioners and create good jobs for workers and respect their freedom of association and build a middle-out flourishing U.S. economy gets eroded by wanton billionaires. And there's risk that that's what will happen more and more if he's allowed to win here.
Thank you so much for watching our video. If you'd like to see more stories like this one, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel to get more Perfect Union in your feed. And if you have any ideas for stories that you would like for us to investigate, just drop them in the comments below.